My name is Amy Thomas Davis. I'm here recording in Alabama. I want to share with you a message that I've been getting from the Lord. It's a continued revelation. I'm still unpacking it, but I want to share with you what I've heard so far. I think it's an important message that we begin to really understand and ask the Lord more about. I want to share with you the message of the surveyors. You're probably wondering, what in the world? What are surveyors? What are they doing? What are we surveying? I feel like it is an important message. I had a dream, a couple of years back. I don't remember the exact date. And because of where we are in the world right now, I believe that this message of the surveyors is very relevant. So in this dream, I saw down on the land, I saw the Civil War that's taking place. It was a civil war in the church. It was a civil war in our nation. It was a civil war just with people across the land. It was a civil war, this very awful civil war, political civil war. It was just very ugly. And it was happening, and it was very real. And I could see it out of the side of my eye, and I wanted to be drawn into the chaos and into all of that. But instead, the Lord told me to look up higher. And I looked into the sky. I looked up into the heavens to where the moon and the stars are. I look up there, and what I see in the sky were surveyor tools. So here we have a civil war on the land, and the Lord is in one place, he was calling me higher. I was going up higher above all of the chaos and all of the mess. And I saw, I was able to see the eagles on the side, and I knew the Lord was saying it's the time of the eagle. And I shared on that in a previous blog I did sometime last year. But I didn't really share too much about the surveyors because the Lord hadn't revealed it all to me. And I'm still getting that, as I said. But I looked in the sky, and I could see the surveyor tools. And the Lord imparted something to me and spoke to me and said, "You are a surveyor tool." And so I began to ask the Lord, what does a surveyor do? What is it? What does that mean when you're telling me I'm a surveyor or I'm a tool to survey? What am I surveying? And I just kind of sat on that. I processed it with the Lord a little bit. I read scriptures. And now as we're looking in the earth everywhere and we're seeing the civil war taking place, we're seeing people turning on each other and chaos unlike we've seen in a very long time. I'm recognizing that the message of the surveyor is very necessary. So let me share with you some of the things that I have been getting from the Lord in regards to what a surveyor does, who a surveyor is, what we're even surveying, and what we're building. Let me share with you. Job 35 says this. Let me start here. Look unto the heavens and see, survey the skies, are higher than you. And I can feel it in my spirit like the Lord, He's higher than me. I can look into the heavens and I can see that His ways are higher than our ways. He's greater and mightier than anything we could ever come up with in our own minds, anything we could build with our own hands. We can't build aside from Him. So let me share with you the word from the Lord that I wrote down exactly as I wrote it. A lot of what I'm going to be sharing comes out of Deuteronomy 1 and a few other places. Let me share this little, kind of like a journal entry, but it's a word from God. I heard the Lord say this. You've stayed long enough in the wilderness. Turn and set your journey. I feel like this is a word for many of you watching. So just hear it and receive it. You've stayed long enough in the wilderness. Turn and set your journey. Some are setting their journey to find and survey the land where the Lord will build. The Lord said that He has prepared the land before you. Go in, survey, build, for the Lord has multiplied. Our destiny is to be as the brightness of the expanse of heaven. Upon a greater revelation of the knowledge of God will come increase, 1,000 more than you are. Let me read that one more time. You've stayed long enough in the wilderness. Turn and set your journey. Some are setting their journey to find and survey the land where the Lord will build. The Lord said that He's prepared the land before you. Go in, survey, build, for the Lord has multiplied. Our destiny is to be as the brightness of the expanse of heaven. Upon a greater revelation of the knowledge of God will come increase, 1,000 more than you are. If you follow any of our blogs, you'll know that I have been getting a great revelation from the Lord regarding the knowledge of God. What is going to happen as we come into the place of really having the true knowledge of God? In that place, you can look back at the last several blogs and teachings that we've done, and you'll hear that I have been really pressing this because it is the heart of God. This is what the Lord is saying. So understanding, having a greater revelation of the knowledge of God is going to increase us 1,000 more than we are. Let me share with you some things about the surveyors. It all wraps together. Stick with me here. So what will surveyors do? What do surveyors do? I'm going to get into this in a little bit about what we're building, about who the surveyors will be, but I want to just share some kind of practical things about what surveyors do. I actually watched many videos and YouTube teachings on surveyors, people that actually go and survey a land. You know, they get out their machine, and even how they would survey, you know, throughout history before they had all the technology. How would they survey? What was required? So here's some things that a surveyor does. They conduct a survey. They examine and they understand history, and they understand the future. They're seeing something. They're seeing something bigger that will eventually take place, something that will eventually be built. They design new methods. They build maps and blueprints. They locate curbs and gutters. That work doesn't, I wrote down here that what works and doesn't work based on the history. So because they understand the history, they know what's not going to work, where the curbs and where the gutters are in an area. They find the specific place or people out of a big old world. They find a specific place to build. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with us, with surveyors that we are. I'm going to get into that more, of how we will be able to identify a people, be able to identify a land out of a big old world. Israel, Jerusalem, Zion. We're going to be able to identify a remnant of God's people. And I wrote that down here. The surveyors will identify the remnant of God's people. They will identify the harvesters. That's what we can expect a surveyor to do. So these surveyors, I see them like torchbearers. So I heard that from the Lord, you know, that they will be like torchbearers. They're going to carry a certain message. They're going to carry the message of submission. They're going to be the yielded ones. So here we have surveyors that will come into a place and survey a land. They'll come in there and they're going to recognize where can we build and where do we not build. They're going to recognize a people. We're going to begin to call out a people, the remnant of God's people. We're seeing that right now, hearing the Lord saying it's time to identify the remnant. It is time to identify the harvesters, because we have a harvest that's going to come in. And we have a people to minister to, and we have to have a place to send them. Church as it was will not be the same ever again. Now, some places may try to keep an old system alive, but it won't have any life on it. It's dead. That old way has been burned up. It's no longer. So the Lord is revealing to people this greater way, this better way, this more perfect way. There's a way that the Lord has designed for us to build, and there are surveyors that are getting the revelation from heaven, surveying the land, seeing where we'll build and when we'll build, who we're going to build with. It's not just about building specific places, you know, like what will we build? Well, yeah, Paul Keith has been prophesying for years about how we're going to have hubs. Other people have seen these hubs as well in Revelation. They've been prophesying about these actual natural hubs that will be places people can go. But we're also building something in the spirit. And we're identifying people. We're going to build and equip people. That's what it's all about. It's about bringing glory to the kingdom of God, bringing glory to the Lord by building up a people that will glorify his name. That's what surveyors will do. They will go and identify a people. They'll build natural places, even natural hubs. But I believe it goes even beyond that. I'm going to skip through and not go in the order in my notes, but I'm going to skip down and I'm going to share something I feel just it's stirring in my spirit, and I want to jump to it. When I say that we're gonna build something in the spirit, that's what I've been asking the Lord about, because the message of the hubs has been prophesied, and we're even seeing, things happening through the internet, little groupings and hubs and families and churches taking place through the internet. There's a lot of different ways that we've learned to connect with each other in person, in relationship through communicating, through the internet, over throughout history, writing letters back and forth and being sent across the earth. There are many ways that we're communicating. But moving forward in the things of the Spirit and building something bigger is going to require something more. A greater faith. It's going to require accessing and touching the powers of the coming age. It's going to look differently than what it looks like right now. It's not going to be simply internet meetings or even just, meetings with a handful of people. We're going to have to be able to communicate supernaturally in a way we haven't done before, in a way maybe Enoch did and others that I think walked with God in such a powerful way. We're going to build according to the brilliance of heaven. So that doesn't look the way we think it's going to look. It's not going to be just these perfect little buildings that have a class here and a class here. We're going to have those. We're going to have a way to minister and communicate the word of the Lord and disciple people. We can't go without that. It's necessary. But in the days that are coming, we have to know how to access another realm. We have to touch the powers of the age to come in such a way that we can communicate with people now, that way. I had a dream. In my dream, I was sending a text, and I was teaching somebody in the dream. And I was saying, how come we can believe that I can send this text right now and it can go to the other side of the earth and somebody's going to get it right away? Or I can send an email, or I can do a video, or we see it on television and on the internet. How come I can believe for that? But I can't believe that people don't believe that we could be transported to another land. We can transport letters on a device, but a person can't be transported. And that's something that kind of stretches people. Like, yeah, right, is that really going to happen? Well, you can read in the scripture that it happens. We know this. So we have to believe for things like this, to be sent from one place to another place. I have several experiences where I was sent from one city to another city and time was not involved. It was just like that, outside of time, because we serve a God not bound by time nor concerned by it. So he can quickly bring us from one place to another place, and time is not an issue. It's not a burden. We have to learn to go into that dimension and that realm, because it will be a great way to communicate. It is one of the ways we'll communicate in these coming days. The surveyors will see that. They're going to learn the ways to go into those places, to go into his word and let it give us power to send us wherever he wants us to go, because we've gone into his word, because we've gone into the thunders. We've gone into that place. It's drawn us in, and we've yielded ourselves to it so we can be sent anywhere the Lord asks us to be sent. Maybe that's a lot for your mind to wrap your mind around. It's a lot for me to wrap my natural mind around. But when I think about some of the things the Lord has done for me, the supernatural things that have taken place in my life, that there is no way that it could happen on earth outside of a supernatural God doing it. And I know that he can do all these things he says he's going to do. So part of what we're going to be building is going to be in the spirit, and being able to communicate with people across the earth even quicker and more successfully than we can through the internet. Because in that place, there's no censoring. When we're communicating with somebody, with many people, a message from the Lord by his Spirit, there's no censoring there. And so that I think it's necessary moving forward. It's a huge part to what I've felt from the Lord in regards to what we're building. So we're building the natural hubs. We're building a people. We're building relationships. And I mentioned the many ways that we're building relationships now. But we're going to learn to build relationships by the Spirit unlike we ever have before. When you meet somebody and you've never met him before, but you're like, I know you. Like, you're my sister. That is a relationship already being built by the Spirit of God. And those things will grow so quickly, those relationships, so quickly. It's like what used to take a really long time to do, the Lord's going to do very quickly, because that's just who he is. We're accessing something. The Lord's giving us access to something. See where I am. Okay, so I mentioned that we're going to build with supernatural brilliance, even as Enoch did. So when we build the natural hubs, it's not just believing for finances and believing for workers, but we're going to believe that we can build with the supernatural brilliance that even Enoch built with. That's something pretty powerful. That's something pretty mighty. I'm excited to see that. We're going to communicate with that same brilliance. You see, we're going to know each other in communion and be known vulnerably by each other. That's why when we meet somebody and it's like, oh, I know you by the Spirit. Well, that is going to grow because of vulnerability, transparency, and how we have been yielded to the Spirit of the Lord. It's something very necessary now that we understand. We're going to know God in communion, and we're going to be known by him in communion, knowing each other and knowing God. I shared in the last message that I did regarding Moses and how Moses was known by God face to face. And the Lord showed me that we're going to do even greater things than that. We're going to be known in such a way. You see, the yielded ones, they're the ones that will touch the powers of the age to come. The yielded ones are going to have access to things. The yielded ones are going to survey a land and know where to build. They're going to discern a people and know who to build with and who to encourage and who to disciple. They're going to survey the things in the Spirit and know where to go. So when I was in that dream and I knew by the Spirit, I'm going to look up here and I'm going to see that something bigger than me, something bigger than that chaos on the land, there's something greater happening. There's something massive happening. And I want to see that and I want to be a part of it. So let me share with you some of the things that I felt that the Lord showed me are necessary for a surveyor. So I saw these surveyors like the Torchbearers. Let me read to you what I wrote here. We will not see the one true revival until we see true submission. The yielded ones, the Torchbearers, they carry the message of submission and they light the way to the one true revival. They will also survey the land in preparation for a great harvest of people. Wow, that's what the yielded ones will do. That's what the surveyors will do, because it's all about a one true revival. But in order to really bring in this revival, we're going to have to do it differently than we did it before. I mean, it's very hard. I'm very thankful for pastors and churches, and we're all doing the best that we know. People are doing the best that they know how. But it's hard right now to find a place or find a location, if you lead somebody to the Lord, that you're like, yes, let's go there. Those places are rare. And it's time now that we begin to build something that we feel comfortable bringing the harvest into. Bringing them into a place where they feel heard, where they're not afraid to be known. A place where they feel safe and they feel loved. A place where they're not working their way up some ladder. A place where they get to come in, be known by God, and know God. That's what we're building. And we're going to do it in so many different ways. We're doing it supernaturally. Being transported, knowing by the Spirit what somebody's thinking and feeling. Because of the Spirit of the Lord, because of the blood. We're going to know renewal in such a way. We have to know renewal. We have to know what it's like to be renewed because of Jesus Christ. We have to know it so that we can teach it fully and completely. We have to know God in such a way. It's coming to the place of the true knowledge. These are all necessary. These are all necessary things to have to build a place. We're building in the Spirit, we're building emotionally, we're building relationally, and we're building in the natural. What else will these surveyors have? They will be wise and discerning, because we're discerning a place, we're discerning a people, and we're discerning the spirits. We have to know how to do this. Without this level of discernment, and wisdom people will begin to build again according to their ideas. I'll tell you what, our opinions are not necessary. They're not relevant. We have to know God's opinions and build according to his opinions. These people that will be torchbearers, that will be the yielded ones, and that will be the surveyors, they will be experienced men. Now, they won't be experienced in the business of ministry. They will be experienced in communion with God. That's very necessary. We're not just looking to people that maybe look like they've got a whole resume of things they once did in ministry. We're looking for the ones that are experienced in relationship with the Most High, because everything we build moving forward will come from the very heart of God. We're not building according to our own ideas anymore. We can't. It's getting us nowhere. The Lord is actually burning all that up. We can't go back into those old ways. We're hearing from the heart of God. We're going to yield and submit so that we can go into the thunders, so that we can go into the spirit of knowledge, so that we can go into his heart, so that we can touch, grab a hold of the powers of the age to come and bring a demonstration of that to the earth. What else will the surveyors have? They will be courageous. They will be so courageous. They will be the ones that carry the greatest courage. The greatest courage. You see, they've been through something. They learned that fear didn't work. And they stood somewhere, the heart of God, and they learned the power of love. Because of that, the courageous ones are the ones that have a special spirit, even like Caleb did. He'll have a special spirit. Something so wonderful will be in this Caleb generation, in this generation of surveyors and torchbearers and yielded ones. These surveyors truly are a generation of yielded ones. It's something quite miraculous and something quite remarkable, and I'm excited to see it. Deuteronomy 1:36 says this, I will give you the land because you followed the Lord fully. That means you yielded. That means that we were able to become a congregation of surveyors, a congregation of those that will carry the light of submission. That's what we can expect to see. Those are the ones that will survey a land, survey a people, and build according to his heart. One more thing I want to add here is they will survey from a higher point. Just like in my dream, I went up higher and I was able to see what's coming. I was able to see who I am. I was able to see who God is. I was able to see what the Lord is releasing on earth, which is a congregation of surveyors. Like I said, and I'm saying it again because I feel like I feel it in my spirit just stirring, like I could say it over and over again. We have to be a congregation of yielded ones. That's what the surveyors are. They've been in a place and yielded to the Most High so they can see a land and know where to build and who to build with and what to build, and they can do it according to the Spirit. And those ones are the ones, they go up higher. They go up higher, away from the chaos and the confusion and the swarm and the mixture. They go away from that. They come out of the second heavens and they come up and they see something from a higher point of view, from a higher perspective. They go and they look to the thing that's even higher than them. They look to the Most High God, lifted above all circumstances, and they say, how do I build? How do I survey? How do I discern? And how do I yield? That's what we can expect. It's not just something we can expect like years down the road. We can step into it now. I had an experience this morning that I wish that I could share, but I can share one small part. And I was able to go somewhere and get a little healing that was needed. I was able to go somewhere for a moment. And I was able to go because I jumped in to the sound of the thunders, the sound of his voice, the sound of the thunders that bring healing and all these other amazing things. I wish that I could share with you that message now because it's burning in me, but I feel the pause of the Lord. But I will tell you that there's something happening to a people. If we can turn off the chaos and go in deeper, step into the sound of his voice, dive in and let him wash us in a way, then we can be those that yield according to his design. I bless you with that in Jesus' name.